So, talk a little bit about, just real briefly about ghost pattern software. We've been around for a few years doing mobile solutions for GroupWise. So we have a GroupWise, a set of GroupWise iPhone apps that they're native apps. They're available out on the on Apple's App Store. We have an app for email, calendar, contacts. We've been updating these regularly and providing support for quite a few years. I think the first release was in 2009, so been around for a little while. We have an Android app as well. Again, a native app available on Google Play or Amazon App Store. We have an email app and a calendar app. We've been updating that as well too. The strengths for our mobile apps are really around the GroupWise specific features that we can provide, access to all of your folders, old email, seeing attachments properly, access to appointments, tasks, and notes, a variety of GroupWise specific features. I think people are pretty pleased with the apps. So I think I've got a lot of feedback from people about our apps that they're pretty pleased with how easy they are to get up and get going. They're not terribly expensive and generally just will work for people. Now, how do they work? Well, they do so by connecting from a native app on the device, and they connect directly to your GroupWise Web Access server that then talks to your post office, to your GroupWise account. This is not a sync. It's more like the app is behaving or interacting with GroupWise Web Access as if it were a browser. There's nothing cached on the device, which also provides some security features. So we've got, so talked to people a little bit, and they said, hey, you know, just yesterday I had an email from somebody that said, hey, how do I get this iPhone app that works well on my iPad? How do I get that to work on my iMac? Well, the fact of the matter is that the Mac and the iPhone are actually very different platforms. There's a little bit of a relationship there, but it is a completely different platform and not just a simple get the app running on your Mac. I wish it was that easy. It's quite a bit of work. But anyway, so talk to people, and there seemed to be some interest in getting a Mac app going, and so we've started that process. So what do we have? It's a native Mac app written in Cocoa, which is the native tool set delivered by Apple. What that means is that there's no plugins provided. There's no Java required. That's of interest since the Java seems to be the biggest security problem on the Mac right now. The app that I've got is compatible with OS X 10.7 and later, that the Lion release. This is a code-signed application. What that means is that it provides some additional security. One of the directions that Apple's going for handling trusted applications is to have developers code-sign their app. So I've jumped through the proper hoops for that. For the most part, users don't have to worry about that. This does, like our iPhone and Android apps, this does require GroupWise Web Access. And we are compatible not just with GroupWise 2012, but all the way back to GroupWise 6.5. That gets pretty much everybody that's using GroupWise today. Availability. So the license will include updates and support. Apple is updating the Mac operating system about once a year now, which requires some tweaking and adjustments to applications. So that those updates and support are included with the purchase of the app. We will provide both user and volume purchases. If you're an IT department that want to buy a number of licenses for your users, we can accommodate you with that. The price is $10 a user a year, so it is a subscription. And we're going to be selling it directly and not through the Mac App Store. And this is what it looks like. So, little screenshot. Let me talk a little bit about the roadmap for the app. So I have a beta release today that will be available for anybody that would like to get it and play with it. Beta, well, the app is probably more of an alpha release at this point. There's a lot of things that aren't complete, a lot of features that are not there yet. The app shouldn't crash or do anything unfortunate that way, but there are quite a few things that are not done. The app does do updates through it. Like most applications these days, it will go out and check to see if there's a new version and will automatically prompt users to install and update. We'll do a 1.0 release when the app is done enough, and that's largely going to be driven based on getting enough features in the app, and once we have stability and have feedback from users that they feel that it's complete enough. And then once we've done that 1.0 release, I'll continue to add features, support for newer versions of the Mac operating system. In fact, I'm surprised that Apple hasn't announced their 10.9 yet. Rumors that should come about any day now. And of course, Novell is updating group-wise. So as we need to adjust the app to be compatible with newer support packs and that sort of thing, that will be pushed out and available as updates for everybody. So a little bit of detail, what's working today in this technology preview. So today we've got access to your mailbox, posing email, appointment, tax, notes, that sort of thing, but calendar access and address books are not done yet. To access the beta, you follow this link, and we'll make that available later so that you won't have to type that in. I realize that's a nice long URL that you shouldn't be expected to have to type into a browser. But you go to that URL, and you'll be able to download the beta and get it going as of right now. I also have a mailing list that I use for the beta. Primarily that's to notify people about when we have new releases, things that are going on with the beta, that sort of thing. So let's start with a demo. So first of all, let me show you what, this is what the download page looks like once you get that nice long URL in. The download page comes up like this, and you just download the app, and it comes down as a zip. You unzip it, and away you go. I already have it downloaded. And so This is what it looks like when you first run the app. Actually, let me, before we get too far into a demo, let's see if we have any questions. All right, don't see how to see the questions, so we'll keep going. So when you first launch the app, it's going to pop up with a little welcome first-time configuration screen. For the purposes of this demo, I have it pre-filled in with the URL. Users will have to put in that URL. But you just type in your group-wise username, and then your password, and then fill in the URL to your GroupWise Web Access server. So this is going to be to the login page. This is the item that trips people up the most, that and putting their email address in for their username. So you want to put in the full URL, including the HTTP. And then you say, check the URL. Now, the password is going to be stored out in the keychain on your Mac. The keychain is a nice, secure location that Apple wants you to put security things like this. I'm going to say always allow so it doesn't keep prompting me here. And it checked, so it does an initial attempt to log in for the user to verify that the URL is correct. And it worked, so we're going to continue. And we're up and running. So you can see it's fairly straightforward. It's a very Mac feeling application because it's using the native Mac widget set. So over here we've got a mail list with the list of emails and whatnot in our mailbox. Notice we've got appointments, we've got tasks, we've got email. This one's unread, this is read. Here's a note. And so let's look at this appointment. Notice that we've got all the information you expect to see, location, who are the attendees, that sort of thing. And I can come in and accept the appointment. That works fine. Here's a task. I can accept, decline, and deal with that as well. So we'll accept that. The email. So emails, of course, are going to come through just fine. I can reply and do a variety of tasks with it. Let's start out and switch and let's create an appointment. So here's a new appointment. We'll send it to Ted. And he's Ted. And it's going to be in our room 3. That's the date picker here. Set it up for next week at say 1 o'clock. And we'll have that be an hour and a half. And we'll send the appointment. And off it runs. So fairly straightforward. I can also do a reply or reply all. Send that off. Now I've dealt with this. We'll delete that email. So it's fairly straightforward. We can create new emails, reply to emails, create appointments, creating tasks works just fine. Creating notes works just fine. Pretty straightforward. Obvious first question is, how do I switch folders? I come up here and right next to the refresh button, I'll click on this change folder button, and out scrolls this list of folders, and I can select and switch to that. Unfortunately, this isn't quite working right, and so I've got it turned off for the beta. But that, I wanted to show that to you today so that you can see how that would work. Switching to the calendar view and to look at your contacts. Again, that's also not on for the beta, but here's how you would do it. You would select this calendar and you would get something that will look like this. So, fairly straightforward, that sort of thing. Somebody asked about spell check. So I don't have an actual spell check button per se, but we do have a spelling check that's just built into the control. So it's one of the advantages of using Apple's technology to build the app. So if I start typing, it's going to notice that it doesn't know what the word webinar is, and so let me fix that. If I do something like, if I make a small error that it's going to do autocorrection is going to kick in. That sort of thing. So spelling is going to work, spell check, it's going to work like a Mac. How's that for an answer? Let's see. Beta updates. So when you restart the app, it will go out, so close down the application and then launch it again. Every time you launch the app, it's going to go out and check the beta website to see if there's an update required. If there is an update, it will prompt you and say, hey, would you like to install this update? You can also manually force a check for the update by from the help thing here. In the help menu, we'll say check for updates, goes out and checks, says we're up to date. If we weren't up to date, it would prompt us, and it goes through a download process, shuts down the current copy of the application, installs it, and then relaunches it again for you. So fairly straightforward, shouldn't confuse anybody at all. I anticipate doing updates fairly quickly, especially during the beta. So that'll, especially initially, as we have features that aren't done, and that sort of thing. If the app crashes, there is some crash reporting built in that, not the one where you send it off to Apple, but the it will pop up and say, hey, do you want to send this crash report? And it give you an opportunity to tell what the context of the crash is and that sort of thing. Send that off. I can access that, and that'll be very helpful to get those. So that was really fast. So let's see if we have any additional questions.
So Daniel, I have seen a couple come through, but just a quick reminder, if anyone does have any questions, feel free to put those through on the chat or the Q&A. So the first question would be about if you can busy search in a calendar.
Busy search for the calendar is definitely something that has to get done for this, but is not done yet. So I have a whole list of features that need to be done before we release this application. And busy search is one that hopefully will get done before we actually release, but maybe have to be just after. But it's definitely going to happen.
Perfect.
John asked about email being cached locally on the Mac. It is not. So this application is going to be online only. So we'll have to have an active connection to the internet for that. So, any more questions? Or is it all pretty straightforward? Hopefully, this is what people want to see and something that people are interested in. Pretty excited. There's had some pretty good conversations with people at BrainShare about doing this Mac client. It'll take a little while to get us with something that's completely ready to go. Let's see, I didn't see that question. How long will we be in beta? Good question. So I would hopefully not too long, but I don't really want to pick a specific date for when the beta is going to end, mostly because I'd rather say, all right, we're going to meet and have a certain set of features done and make sure that the app is sufficiently feature complete and stable and that sort of thing before we release it. But hopefully it's not going to be more than a couple of months. But again, we'll see. It depends on feedback from people and how many changes we need to make and how difficult completing a lot of these features ends up being. So anyway, well, that was kind of a short and sweet demo. If there's no more questions, then I think we're done.
All right, thanks, Daniel. I am not seeing other questions at this time. Oh, actually, it looks like one just came through. Can you post the URL for the download again? And if you want to pull that up, I can put that through on the chat so that everyone has that link.
Yes. Oh, you need me to send that to you, correct?
Yeah, or actually, if you want to just put it through on the chat and then just send it to all participants, then everyone will have that link available.
There we go. There you go, Jared, just for you. All right. Thanks, Jared, and thanks to everybody else for coming. Hopefully I'll get some good feedback from everybody. Obviously, we're a little bit early in the development of this app, so I don't know if it's feature complete enough that you'd use it every single day for a Mac client, but I think it's definitely done enough. You can go in and poke around and tell me what you think. Feel free to send me an email if you want to just talk about this and provide feedback or questions. Let's see, here is my email address on here. How rude. There we go. So here's my email address. Feel free to drop me an email, tell me what you think, provide some feedback, and we'll go forward and hopefully get the product available for people soon. So thanks.